Alright, there we go. And their streams aren't too far off from each other right off the bat. Alright. The obligatory cutscene. Everyone's favorite part of speedruns. Unskippable cutscenes, especially in a game like Mega Man. Why would you not need story in a Mega Man game? That's fantastic. Only the deepest lore. Pretty much a completely straightforward stage. I think the only reason they put the intro stage in this game in the first place is to just show off the fact that you can play Zero. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have bothered to put it in. Getting down there, you meet Mac, who slaps X upside the head. And Zero comes to save the day. As is usual. Zero can actually be used to clear a lot of lag here, and his charge shot has 4 different stages, with the normal green shot, the yellow shot, then a pink charge which fires a green and then a yellow, simultaneous, well not simultaneously, but one after the other, and then the green, which is 2 full charge shots and then a saber. Which, when you get into max room, you want to have at least one of those full charge shots left, hit him with that, and then hit him with the saber and he'll die immediately. Oh jeez. After that, pretty much just head straight to the boss. And if you played X2, the boss will seem a little familiar, since not quite the same extent, but the Buster does a lot more damage than it should to him. Normal lemons do 2, green shots do 3, and full charge shots do 4. And this is actually the only boss in the game that dash lemons actually work on. They do 3 damage to him. Unfortunately, they don't work on any other boss. They might work on mid-bosses, but I'm not 100% sure. And they do absolutely work on normal enemies. So they're still useful for clearing out just normal enemies off stages and things to clear your way, but for bosses, they're pretty much useless. And the first stage we're going to be moving on to is Blizzard Buffalo. And this stage, due to its ice physics, you're going to see very heavy use of all of the ice physics in this. Notably the slopes here. Unfortunately, it looks like Nordren actually took a bonk there. And when you go onto one of those slopes, you automatically gain a huge amount of speed, especially when you're dashing. So you want to maintain that speed as long as you can by dashing all the way down the slopes, and then dash jumping off of them, and it will keep your speed as long as you're in the air. Another strange thing about the ice in this game is that normally there's slope jumps in this game, where if you are moving down a slope and you jump, you gain a little bit of extra jump height for some weird reason. Who even knows why, other than the fact that it's just Mega Man. We're having a little bit of trouble with this gap. But if you're on a icy surface in this stage and you walk to the left and jump, you'll actually always have a slope jump despite being on a flat surface. Which I have no idea why that is, but it's just Mega Man X3. It's just a weird game. It's not programmed very well. After the capsule, you'll see them drop off onto another little icy slope that they'll try and get a normal little jump off and then an air dash to maintain the speed. Nordren got it kind of. I don't believe he air dashed fully, but he did get a speed boost off of it, which saved a little bit of time. I'm not sure if Nordren does the CFO strats or not, same with Torta. Which Buffalo has a glitch with his AI where if you jump after he turns around from the wall, for some reason he'll trick his AI into thinking you're on the other side of him, so he'll just ram himself into the wall over and over again. And Torta is actually doing a much safer method, using the vertical dash to trick him. And if you look at Nordren, you'll notice he's actually alternating shots between lemons and full charge shots. That is where you hit him with a full charge shot, dash away, and fire a lemon, and use the travel time and the iframes of the lemon to get another full charge shot ready to go. And that method, say, if done right perfectly, saves about 2 seconds over just fighting him like Torta did. Not too much of a difference between the two of them. Pretty much just about 5 seconds, 6 seconds or so. The victory fanfare is about the difference. Moving on to Seahorse, which is a very, very vertical stage. Much like a lot of stages in this game, which is where it differs a little bit in level design from X1 and X2. Almost a lot of the stages in X3 are very vertical. There's a lot of climbing, which this particular climb is excessively difficult to do just right. There's a lot of execution involved. And Nordren getting a very nice climb there. Torta taking a bonk, but he gets a little bit of a damage boost on the wall there, so not much of an issue. I think he's actually going to go up and get a safety heart here, which, if you're going to get hearts, when you start running this game, getting the Seahorse heart and the Tiger heart are your best bet, since they don't really cost too much time, less than around 5 seconds or less to get either one of them. Overall, you lose about 10 to 15 getting them both, but compare that to dying on Sigma and losing over a minute, and it's a pretty nice little trade-off. Torta actually getting the hole-in-one there, where on that ledge you saw him do an air dash off of while he was falling at the beginning of the water. If you air dash as close as you can to that ceiling, you will actually not have to stop your momentum at all. You'll just go straight into the hole. It looks like they both used the weakness on the mid-boss here. You can either mash him down with a buster, which it's a much safer method since you'll save ammo for the boss, or you can use his weakness, which is ice, which it shouldn't be a big deal, but the boss here's weakness is ice, and he does have a specific glitch that requires a lot of mashing, which you'll see Nordren going in here to do right now. Couldn't quite get that gap jump for Torta. And you see Nordren utilizing the iframe glitch on Seahorse. He has a specific strange glitch. Him and Crawfish both are like this, where if you hit them with their weakness, the last chunk of their invincibility frames just don't function for whatever reason, leaving them completely vulnerable to take damage every single frame. And I believe it's somewhere between 30 and 60 frames max for Seahorse, as far as his vulnerability to it goes, and the length of time that Seahorse is vulnerable for is determined by how high he is when you hit him with the initial shot. So if you hit him at the very crown of his jump, you're going to maximize the time you can just mash him down. You can get him down to about a third of his health. You can take him down pretty low. But if you just put a shot out, wait for him to jump into it, and try and mash him then, you'll get maybe 2 or 3 shots out if you're lucky, and won't really do anywhere near as much. Torta actually took a little bit of a safer method there, and just opted to infinite combo him, which actually you can do that. If you just keep putting the shot after you stun him right over his head, he'll just constantly jump into it and stun himself. Mega Man X3 programming, it's pretty great. Nordren moving on to the Rhino stage, which is by far one of the hardest stages in the game to do without taking any damage, at least. Everything in this stage will absolutely annihilate your health, and it is very, very movement and input heavy. Not getting the sub-tank, although I suppose at this point he doesn't really need it. Looks like he's going to get bit in Rhino, which it doesn't really matter where you get bit in any percent, but generally, at least in my opinion, you don't want to get him in Rhino because you need to conserve as much health as you can. And having to fight him is just taking the chance of losing more health, which he actually has lost a small chunk. Fighting Bit is fairly straightforward. You hit him with a lemon shot, and then get him off with ice until... Get him off with ice is not what I meant to make it sound like, I'm sorry. You hit him with ice until he's at 1 HP, and then finish him off with Buster. Never, ever kill either Bit or Bite with their weakness, because that will cause an explosion to happen, which will waste 13 seconds. And if you kill them both with their weakness, not only will you lose 26 seconds from explosions, you're going to have to fight a much, much more difficult boss in the Doppler 1 stage, which you never, ever want to fight that boss. He is the Forbidden One. You never want to touch him. And this is exactly why you want to conserve as much health as possible, since the quickest method of killing the Rhino mid-boss is by jumping on his bottom half and just mashing him away, like your life depends on it, because it kind of does. And unfortunately, Nordren now is only at 2 HP, and it would be very, very easy for him to get killed by one of the drill tanks up here unless he's very careful. Anything from the drill tanks will kill him now. And, ooh, this will be a chance for Torta to actually catch up a little bit. And unfortunately, dying in Rhino, especially towards the end there, is one of the worst places you could possibly die. Simply due to the fact that it does send you back about 60% of the stage. It sends you back to the door right after you fought Bit, so you have to fight the mid-boss again, and you have to go through probably the longest stage in the game again. It also has a strange thing of unlocking the full AI for Rhino. So instead of just charging back and forth and juking you once he's in his desperation phase, Rhino can now actually throw drills at you, juke much earlier, and just in general be a massive pain in the ass. This is definitely one of the stages you never ever want to die on, if you can help it. And that's pretty much why that entire thing rolls back into why you don't want to fight Bit on this level. Just, you want to have as much health as you can. Looks like he's going to be in a bit better shape here. Ooh. Oh, I think Tiger only had 1 HP left for Torta. Fortunately, he kept going onto the wall and just constantly spamming shots at him. So, wasn't able to get him into a safe pattern, really. And you can see the AI is actually going with Rhino, making him much more dangerous and strange to fight, because no one's used to fighting him with full AI, honestly. Even in the refights, you usually have the Saber, so you kind of just two-shot everything. So you do need to be very, very careful. It's better to air dash over those drills rather than doing a dash jump off the wall. And the Rhino fight, it's pretty much just hit him with a full Buster charge since its iframes are shorter, and then hit him with Acid. If you just used Acid straight, he would end up with 2 HP left anyway. Oh, what is my computer doing? Oh dear. Let's restart my stream real quick. I missed most of Torta's Tiger fight due to my computer buffering everything. Which is unfortunate, but that's okay. It's going fine now. Nordren is moving on to Tiger. And he gets the little clip onto the Dragonfly there. And when dashing or vert dashing, X's hitbox is actually much smaller than it is while he's just standing or running. So you can actually clip through little things like that Dragonfly that's up against the wall. We'll see if he gets a 1 cycle here, actually. And it's a very nice 1 cycle. I guess he must have thought he didn't get it since he moved over to the left. And I mean, the mid-boss was way up in the ceiling, so that was a bit close. So we're just going to head up and get the sub-tank here. Opting to be much safer getting a handful of items that'll keep him alive later on in the game. Nordren has already fought Bit, so now he doesn't need to worry about fighting him. I don't believe Torta did. He also didn't get him here, so he's more than likely going to get him in Catfish. Well, not more than likely, he's a guaranteed Catfish fight since Bit and Bite. They are somewhat RNG, wherein you are guaranteed to fight both Bit and Bite. They show up, them and Vile show up in the stages after you kill their second Maverick. Bit always shows up in either the 3rd, 4th, or 5th Maverick, and Bite shows up in the 6th, 7th, or 8th Maverick. It's not, you can't have any way of guaranteeing which stage they're going to show up in other than you know you're going to fight them at some point. Which is why if you watch a lot of runners, you'll notice they don't have individual stage splits for the 3rd through 8th Mavericks. They simply have 3-in-1 splits. Nordren so far has actually been getting the God pattern for Tiger. Commentator's curse now kicking into effect because I'm kind of a dick. He's actually shortening Tiger's dashes very well, though. Only 2 dashes, and he gave him pretty much the best pattern possible outside of that. Oh. Torta also taking a death on Rhino, so he is also going to have to fight Rhino at his absolute worst. And go through the entire stage again, fighting the mid-boss. Nordren now moving on to Catfish, which pretty straightforward stage, really. Oh yeah, Countdown had actually just pointed out that Torta is on his last life now, so the next death, if he dies again, will be game over. He should be pretty good at shape on health here, especially if he gets a health pick up here, but that's still a bit of a thing. If he died on Rhino again in game over, he would have to play the entire stage over again. Not just about, you know, a little over half of it. No health pickup, but he has a pretty good chunk of health there. Just opting to take it a little bit more safe here. Just be a little bit more careful with the drill tanks. It's always better to just take a drill hit or a bomb hit from the drill tanks instead of a direct body contact, as it does, I believe, 6 damage. The drills do 2, and little bombs he fires out only do 1. Nordren making very quick work of Catfish's stage. You can see him using the drills there to disable the hitboxes for a short period so he can dash through them. And despite taking the death there, Rhino is not... He's getting very good RNG on Rhino, actually. Most of the fight, Rhino acted like he didn't actually die, which is very lucky, and I believe he only did once in 1 invincibility charge. And Nordren fighting Catfish, who is a bit of another RNG-dependent boss, along with Tiger. You can actually... The strat for him is to just hit him with normal full charge shots until he's at about half HP and he jumps into the middle. However, the RNG depending, you can actually bait him into jumping into you on the wall and delaying when he jumps to the middle. And you can get his health down. Technically, you can get a fight where you don't hit him with any drills at all, but it's actually quicker to get a 1 drill fight. And I believe that was 4 or 5, which isn't too bad. Each extra drill you do does waste 3 extra seconds. Torta's also making use of the drills to disable the hitboxes on the enemies here. Looks like he's not going to go for the balada. However you pronounce that. Where's Madu when you need him? Nordren moving into Crush Crawfish, where he will actually be fighting Vile. Possibly Bite, depending on the RNG too. It's usually best to get Bit and Bite out of the way as early as possible, unless you end up fighting Bit and Rhino. Torta is now fighting Bit and Catfish, I mean. And you actually can manipulate his movements if you jump in front of him. He always dashes to the exact height that you're at. You can actually see him doing it a little bit. So you can manipulate him to get a completely damageless fight if he gives you a good pattern. And another thing to note about Bit is that you never ever want to take any damage from him outside of his body contact damage. The orbs, I believe, do 4 damage, and his rushdown does 2 damage. So if he starts throwing the orbs, you immediately dash into his body and just take the 1 HP damage on a body contact hit that it gives you. It's the only thing, saving him, getting him and Rhino from being the worst thing possible. Torta making very good use of the ice weapon's very strange properties, where if you hit an enemy that initially spawns on the ceiling or flat on the ground with the ice weapon, it actually will give you a guaranteed health drop. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. I can't imagine that's a glitch. Maybe an Easter egg of some sort. The acid weapon from Seahorse actually does the same thing, where it'll give you ammo instead of health, though. Nordren taking care of Vile, and with Vile, the quickest method of killing him at 80% is to start his mech form out with 4 full charge shots, and then do the rest with the Neon Splasher. But you never ever want to kill him with anything other than his his weakness. Losing my damn mind. If you kill him with the Buster or anything other than his weakness, you actually will not be able to get the Saber later on, as he will completely destroy Doppler 2, along with the Mosquito mini-boss required to fight to get the Saber, and well, that's going to cost you a lot of time, since you'd be giving up the ability to 2-shot every boss after that point. You always want to finish him off with his weakness. He does have 2 weaknesses. The Neon Splasher and Crushed Crawfish's Spinning Blades actually will count as a weakness. That particular enemy, just saw Nordren kill there, actually has a little bit of a strange thing with it. I believe the only boss weapon that you get that will work on that is Parasite Bomb. Other than that, no other weapon works on it other than the Buster. I have no idea why. I would assume it's because it has a scripted little cutscene after it dies, or it blows up the floor. Nordren's going to be fighting Crushed Crawfish, where you'll see another use of the glitched iframes, as you saw with Seahorse. Crawfishes are a little bit more excessive and way easier to do, where you hit him with Triad Thunder, jump up onto the wall, or Vert Dash to bait out his claw. And a bit of that RNG there. And if you start mashing him, there is a full 2 seconds where you can just sit there and mash him down with lemons. Torta actually did not do the pauseless strat, but he didn't have to pause on him. He may have actually done pauseless, I'm not sure. Nordren getting a round equivalent of a 3 cycle there. I would get that health. Yeah, there you go, Torta. Just to be safe. Nordren moving on to Beetle now. Very straightforward stage, but there's a lot of optimized movement here that's required. And this stage is where you get to see just how useful the Spinning Blades would be if you could get them earlier in the run. They really are really useful for this stage in particular, as they one-shot every normal enemy here. So you can get through the entrance there with no trouble at all. Nordren finally getting bite here in Beetle. Torta is moving into the Vile fight. She's actually going to fight him. This is a viable method to fight him. It's much safer. It does lose a little bit of time, but not as much as you would think. It actually looks like he's going to hit him with a handful more than just 4. He may just flat out kill the mech with the Buster. to make sure he has enough ammo to kill Bile, just to be safe. No, looks like he's actually going to finish the mech off with the weakness. A few little hiccups from Nordren there, but still a fairly smooth go of this stage. Ooh, that's not good. Nordren taking an accidental bonk there, so that's 6 HP of damage, and unfortunately Torta's actually going to have to completely go through the whole stage again, which not terribly long. This is probably the second shortest stage in the game, outside of Buffalo. So this isn't too bad, although there is this unskippable cutscene here, which kind of sucks. But other than that, it's pretty much a straight shot right to Bile. That game over actually did refill his neon splasher ammo completely, so he doesn't have to worry about that anymore, as opposed to if he just died on Bile and had to fight him again. And as you can see, Beetle is pretty much the easiest boss in the game. That said, I have died to him before, because I'm an idiot. You pretty much start the fight off with a full charge shot, same as Rhino. It has lower iframes, and he'd end up with 2 health anyway if you just use his weakness. And then hammer on him with the Neon Splasher, and try to entertain yourself while you're bored to death by just jumping. Torta moving back into the Bile fight. So he has a little better luck here. Nordren's going to be moving on to Hornet, the last Maverick, until the Sigma stages. Oh geez, a little bit of a hiccup. Let's see if... I'm not sure if Nordren goes for the low percent kicks on the elevator climb here. My stream actually buffered a little bit there. Looks like he does not, but not really much of a problem. Still can get up there just fine with the Burt dashes. You'll see him go in to fight the Shuriken mini-boss for Hornet, which is the only mini-boss in the entire game that actually has functioning iframes. All the rest of them you can mash down pretty much completely your entire fight, but this one you actually have to space your shots correctly. Its weakness, as you can see, is acid. I don't believe it's 5 or 6 acid shots to kill it, and if you when you shoot it with anything, it actually will jump. So it's kind of like a fake out. If you shoot it, don't move. It'll just jump over you. And the hanger section is a little underrated on its difficulty, actually. At least doing it optimally with no lag or anything, or getting hit. Not much of a problem for Nordren, though. Unfortunately, that Rhino death did cost him quite a bit of time. A bit of a misplaced shot there for Torta. And 2 shots will take out those stacks of barrels. I'm not sure if it's a dash shot and a normal lemon, or if you can just fire 2 lemons at them. I never actually tested that. Moving into Hornet, who has his weakness. He is cereal now. His weakness is gravity well. However, he does have a secondary weakness in spinning blades here, as you can see, which if you use on him, it actually does 2 damage and does not give him a weakness style iframe that lasts 5 years. So you can just hammer those on him really fast. Much, much quicker than using the gravity well. We're just going to be moving on to the crawfish fight here just a little bit. A little bit of trouble navigating this section. It's a good example of X3's general level design being very vertical compared to the other games. gotta switch to the Triad there, and actually that's a good note right there. His, the claw he throws actually can eat your Triad. Like Torta's not gonna try and go for the normal quick kill. Did he just despawn his claw? Or am I going crazy? Oh. Torta's gonna be taking a death on Crawfish there, and he is very dangerous to fight normally due to the amount of damage he's able to put out. You do have to be very careful with Crawfish, especially once he moves into his Desperation attack where he starts just bum rushing you completely, as that will hit like nothing you could even believe. It does a boatload of damage to you, I believe about 8. Both from the hit and from smacking into the wall. And him just grabbing you in general has the potential to do a lot of damage as well. So he's actually going to be able to take care of him using double hits from the Triad there. It's only the best strat, Torta. And Nordren actually just took care of D-Rex 2000, which you will see he got as far behind him as he could. And that is because once you kill that boss, it initiates an unskippable cutscene where X will walk towards the back of the room, towards 0. And they'll have a total conversation, and you want to minimize the distance that X walks. Or else it does waste quite a bit of time if you are towards the front of the room, as opposed to just being way back there as far as you can go. I believe that thing does have 2 weaknesses. Ice is its main weakness, and Spinning Blades is its secondary weakness. So the best way to fight that would be to fire a full charge shot, jump into his face, get behind him, and put 2 ice shots down. Nordren's going to be fighting Godcar right now. Not even going to try and pronounce his... oh dear. I'm not sure what happened there. He put his fist forward and he dashed straight into it. Punch me, yes. And no matter how much health you have, if you don't get at least 2 heart tanks, him grabbing you is always going to be a one-shot kill. As overall, it does 18 damage in increments. It does 6 damage when he grabs you, 6 damage when he tosses you into the ceiling, and 6 more damage when he brings you back down to punch you. So overall, it'll do 16, which you will always kill you, or do 18, so it'll always kill you even if you have an extra heart tank. And his sword slashes actually also do 8 damage. The only thing that doesn't 2-shot you are the little beams that come out of the sword shots when they collide into the wall, and you can see the 2 little beams go up and down. Those do 6. Nordren now moving on to by far the hardest and most dangerous stage of the game, which is Doppler 2, which is home to everything that can kill you in 2 hits. Those lasers they're firing do 4 damage, the bombs they shoot out I believe do 6, and direct body contact on them does 8. Not sure what on earth he just did there. I've never actually seen that method of... I wasn't even aware that was a thing you could do. Being able to catch a wall kick like that out in the water. That's very strange. I've never seen that. Getting an extremely good pattern from Mosquito. Now Mosquito is probably... the amount of time he can waste isn't the most in the game, but he probably is the most RNG heavy element in 3 of the SNES games, just based on the amount of different patterns he could give you. Hetfield in his tasks actually did a little write-up, and it ends up being there's about a 30,000... see, there's a 30,000 value sequence where he can give you that many different patterns. And generally what you want to happen is have him go straight down to you and immediately blow up on 0. But the odds of that happening are extremely low. You are more likely to get hit by lightning and then win the lottery the next day. which I believe it's 30 instances of RNG from when you kill him to when he smacks into 0. So getting the perfect pattern on every single one of those is extremely unlikely. Nordren is doing by far the hardest part of the entire game here with the saber climb. I think about a 3rd or 4th try there, which is not too bad for a race. I suppose he doesn't care either way, since he did take that death on Rhino, so there's no way this is going to PB. And now you get a chance to see just how completely broken the saber is in any percent compared to 100%. It's already a 2-shot weapon, but in 100% you had to use the Buster's full charge, all 4 levels, and fire off both charge shots, and then you get the saber. But in 80%, you can just quickly fire off the yellow charge shot and immediately have the saber ready to use. Unfortunately, when you swing the saber, it actually completely blocks X out of any inputs outside of directional inputs if you're in midair with it. But you'll notice that sometimes he'll swap to a weapon when he swings it, which will actually completely cancel the animation at the time and allow X to move around more quickly after he swings it and start charging up another saber quickly. Very nice Hornet kill there. You'll notice he actually managed to hit Hornet with the saber while facing away from him, and that's because the saber's hitbox is active the moment you press the button. Its hitbox swings in an arc, 180 degrees arc, completely around X. It gets bigger as it goes around the front half of X, but you can still do damage to enemies behind you, which generally is actually the quickest way to hit people. You'll more than likely see him use it on Buffalo here. Looks like he's just going to go ahead and be a little bit more safe about it. So the moment X can pull out that saber from behind him, can actually kill enemies behind him. And in a lot of cases, that is the quickest way to kill stuff. Not sure if he's going for the Seahorse quick kill, which works much the same way as the normal quick kill in the Maverick fights. I think he got it. Which, unlike the Maverick fights, in the refights you have the saber, which allows you to hit him pretty much every frame with the saber, which you only need 2, since it does 16 damage per shot. So you very quickly just one-shot 2 of the bosses with the saber, being Crawfish and Seahorse in their vulnerability. Mind you, the Seahorse quick kill in the refights is very precise compared to Crawfish, which you'll see right here. Just immediately dead. Torta's taking a little bit more safe on the falling spikes there, which I don't blame him for that. Those things really scare me too. You'll see him going up to D-Rex 2000. So he's going to pick the health up as well too. He'll start the fight off with a full charge shot and then immediately switch to ice after jumping onto his face. Took a lot of damage on the Rhino refight there for Nordren. Actually, it looks like he's not going to jump behind him. He's just going to try and get up close to his face, which is about a 1-second time loss, if that. If you can get that far, cause get him to walk back that far, it doesn't really matter. Hetfield chicken for making his cameo. Never forget, Hetfield got infinite comboed by that chicken. Unfortunately, getting bad RNG here on Beetle, at least for one of the patterns. Looks like he only got 1 rainbow, so not as bad as it could be, but he can do 2 of those and waste a good amount of time, since even the saber can't hurt him when he's in that. And I believe Torta can actually survive quite a bit of punishment here against Godcar. I believe he can even take getting grabbed, despite it, killing everything in existence. And this is actually the most dangerous refight, solely based on how Catfish works with his desperation. not much of a problem, but you want to hit Catfish with the saber directly, and that's it. You never want to hit him with anything but the saber. If you do, he's going to go into his desperation, waste around 10 seconds sitting in the middle of the screen. Oh dear, oh dear. Use the sub-tank! If he would have actually used a sub-tank there, he could have survived, but he probably wants to save that for Sigma. It's not terrible to die there, since that boss is fairly quick, but you do need to be careful. You can see even with the amount of health he had, just how quickly he died to that boss. Even despite the fact that he probably only took 2 hits on him. If that. I'm not sure how that grabbed him. Yeah, look how much damage that did. Getting grabbed there. It is completely absurd. I don't believe you can just jump over to the wall and dash kick immediately. Ooh, he's gonna have to do the whole stage again there. You can actually, you don't need to climb the wall at all. You can just do you can jump onto the wall and then dash kick right over it immediately. There's an unfortunate run of it here. Nordren is moving into the fight with Dr. Doppler himself. And what you want to do here is keep the charge shot there, fire it to bait out his regen shield, since that's take forever for him to go out immediately. And then swing a saber once that's down, and then immediately charge up another one and hit the saber. You can hit him with the saber immediately after that, even if he's in his recharge shield. Since if normally when you hit him with anything in his when he has his regen up, it will heal for twice the amount of damage that it does. So a Buster Shot will heal for 2, a full charge Buster Shot will heal for 4, his weakness is Acid, which is his weakness, will heal for 6. And the Saber is a guaranteed full heal if he's not at half health. But if the weapon you hit him with is a guaranteed kill on him, then he won't be able to heal from it. He'll just immediately die. Nordren now moving into the Sigma fight. Very nice kill on him. Not the fastest method possible, but that's a very dangerous thing to do anyway. I believe you can actually kill that Sigma before that phase of Sigma halfway through his first round of fireballs. But you have to be very, very, very precise with your shots and weapon swapping. Getting grabbed again on Godcolor. As you can see, Kaiser Sigma is a complete jump. I'm actually going to go ahead and use his sub-tank there. Be a little bit more careful here. Ooh. Died to him again. That is, I believe, the second time at 2 HP. Nordren pretty much completely done now. It's still a possibility to die even after the final form of Sigma, as you can get trapped in the lava and die to the ledges there when they'll crush you from the screen scrolling like that. Not much of a problem for Nordren. RTA was a 44.50 or 44.14. RaceBot has him at a 44.06 actually. Torta is definitely having a little bit of trouble here with Godcar. Which this boss actually could easily highlight just how dangerous any percent is, since pretty much everything can just completely wreck your life. Now he actually is out of his weakness, so he's going to have to just... You can't climb the wall. You really just have to dash kick immediately over it off the wall. I think Torta's going to go ahead and stick it out. This is actually the second game over to the God Car he's had. Getting the acid shot there. As JP said, this is a hard stage and a hard boss. This boss is usually, for new runners of X3 80%, this boss is usually the bane of their existence. I know it was for mine when I first started 80%, just because of how quickly he can kill you. Thankfully, actually the Doppler 1 stage, if it weren't for that mid-boss with DRX 2000, this would actually probably be the shortest stage in the game. Let's see if he has a little bit better of a time here. We get past it that time. There we go. I think Nordren's gonna go ahead and do some quick practice. I believe this means Nordren is going to advance into the elimination phase of the tournament. Torta now moving into Doppler 2. Thankfully, he hasn't taken too much damage here. He's actually only got hit by the smaller Udyr. And now you can see just how easy it is to die on this stage for anyone. One little small movement mistake and it's pretty much completely over. Those red there, the red enemies are called Victoroids, and they're by far one of the most dangerous normal enemies in the game, just due to the amount of weapons they have and how much damage they can put out. So he's actually just gonna go ahead and take a death there, since he was already fairly low on health. This stage is the perfect example of X3 in general. For any percent, it's just everything kills you in 2 hits in the end game. They're practically 2 different runs. Doing the 8 Mavericks and the end game are basically 2 different speed runs, just based on how careful you have to be when going through Sigma stages. He actually did get past it with about a little under half health there. Moving on and switching to 0 here. I still am baffled by Nordren's strats for getting over there. I've never really seen that in 8%. And one thing to note about Mosquito here is that if you do die on him with 0, it is now impossible to get the Saber at 0. Once 0 is dead, actually getting fairly good luck on Mosquito there. Once 0 is dead, he is dead for good. You cannot switch to him anymore. Oh dear, is Nordren going to be showing off some of the PC version of X3? Which I don't think many people know that X3 did have a computer port for it. It is a very bizarre thing to see. And it does have 2 different difficulties, I actually did not know that. I believe it is more or less a direct port of the PS1 version, and it might actually be the quickest version as far as that goes. That's only if the Doppler skip is intact. And behold, the PlayStation version of X3. It's definitely a weird one. I completely, for a long time, forgot that it actually had a PC port. Torta now has the Saber, and he'll be making his way up. I'm not sure if he does the climb or not. Looks like he actually does. Or no? Nope, looks like we're riding snails, boys. As you can see, riding the snails wastes a lot of time as opposed to doing a climb. I believe the Saber climb saves around 50 to 60 seconds, so somewhere around a minute. Which, these things move so slow, it'll seem like it takes longer than that to ride them up. But if you're not super experienced with X3, then it's not really that big of a deal. You can actually get a fairly good time even without doing any kind of climb here. And for the PC version on the left that Nordren is playing, I'm actually not sure if this one has the... There is a skip in the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and X Collection versions where if you highlight Crawfish and press right and select the stage on the same frame, you can actually skip all of the Mavericks in the game and go straight to Doppler. So that makes running in any percent category on one of those versions of the game, the world record for that is at 22:52. So it's a very fast run. Yeah, Super Turbo has a point there. If you do the climb but you die 5 times to it, well, that's obviously going to be way slower. So sometimes it's better than just to... Sometimes it's better and safer to just go ahead and guarantee that you're going to finish the run and when you fight the snails, or ride the snails. Actually, not one. I'm pretty sure the movement, the physics changes in the general movement from the PlayStation version of X3 actually are intact, it seems like. You also can't scroll the text as fast as the SNES version, unfortunately. Actually going to Beetle. Very strange. Buffalo actually getting out his charge there. Not sure what Nordren's doing. The saber climb saves around 50 seconds. Somewhere between 50 and 60 seconds, so around a minute. So you could die once, and if you get it that time, you'll still save time over not doing it by about 10 to 20 seconds. But dying twice is definitely slower. If you actually look at just how fast he's climbing in this version of the game, in the PC, PS1, Saturn, whatever you want to call it, we'll just call the PS1 version, the physics of the game are actually completely different. The movement is totally different. It's very weird, and it kind of feels a little more smoother, actually. You can climb much faster. However, it always seems like there's a little bit of input delay, which is, for this game especially, is already a nightmare with its lag and its weird glitches where it will drop your inputs. But credit to Energy Sam for actually finding out that that is a real glitch with dropping inputs. He actually tested it, and he figured out that the very first frame after you let go of the D-pad, let go of a D-pad input, it actually will completely ignore any inputs that you put in. So you won't be able to put... I believe you can still move around, but it'll drop any kind of jump, dash, or shoot inputs you put in. Which is just fantastic X3 programming at its finest. There's a health drop. He only has two or three refights left to do. Zero's humongous hitbox guaranteeing that he's going to get hit by everything. What was that? Are there phantom grabs in the PC version of this? Back up a second. He grabbed the sub-tank there when he was just sitting in the sand that comes down from the ceilings. That's definitely a little bit odd. Unless my stream was just lagging. TortaDiego is now done with the refights. I'll be moving on to the Doppler fight itself. He did. What on earth is going on with this version of the game? I'll need to ask him to explain himself whenever he gets a chance, because I've never seen that. Those were like phantom grabs on some of those items. That has a potential to be a massive time save on this version of the game, actually. Especially if you do it with Beetle, you could actually skip an entire revisit, which would save around 20 to 30 seconds. And if you could find a way to get that to work with the capsule, you'd save several minutes from doing a Rhino revisit. Does he just have to be in, like, if they show up on screen, like, he'll just automatically grab them? That is super, super bizarre. I did not know that. Wow. If the loading screens and everything were, if the text scrolling was the same as the SNES, this would be the fastest version of the game. For 100%. Like, you just switch to 0 and you can pick up everything super fast. That is very strange. What's the, do you know what the difference between easy mode and hard mode is, Nordren? Or is it just things do more damage? Well, for 100%, the SNES is definitely the fastest version, simply due to the text speed. In PS1 and Saturn and XC versions, the text speed unfortunately only scrolls about half as fast at fastest. As far as any percent goes, the PS1 version is by far the fastest. You could easily beat the game in around 20 minutes due to the Doppler skip glitch. I believe I said earlier, the record for any percent on PS1 is actually a 22 minutes 52 second run by Crack Attack using the low percent route, where he plays through the intro and then immediately glitches his way straight into the Doppler stages and fights everything Buster only. And I believe according to Ockguard and Louise, actually, that time could go way, way down. I believe Ockguard actually said he wants to try and play any percent glitched using a low percent route, which, considering how good he is at SNES low percent, he'd probably destroy that. Although I'm not sure, as Crack actually grinded that particular category for probably a couple years before he managed to get the time he has. Stub 23. Somewhere QTT6 does have a 23 something with the any percent route, but I haven't been able to find the video of that. And it looks like Torta is done with a 103.58 on RTA and a 103.59 on SRL. So GG to both runners. Congrats to Nordren on his win. I believe that means he is going to be advancing into the he's going to be advancing into the elimination phase of the tournament. He is guaranteed that he has all 3 wins in his bracket. And what do we have coming up later? We have 2 more matches coming. Oh, looks like it actually just got changed. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. Looks like we have a 4-way race going to happen at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. Yeah, Jenny, I do know a little bit about it. I'm probably one of the only people who actually actively runs that category anymore. I would like to try it. I'd like to get a PS1 copy of it and actually try to beat Crack's time using the any percent route. But time will tell. So we have a 4-way race at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. Celestino versus Berlin Dude and Thunderface versus Torta, which I believe Thunderface versus Torta is the very last match of my group, Group G, before that's all wrapped up. And over the next coming days, we should have a lot of matches happening, as the cutoff for this group, for the group phase of the tournament, is on the 29th. So people do need to get their matches in and done. And until 7 p.m., that is about all we have here. I'm not sure if there's anything else scheduled. Yeah, some groups haven't even done their first match yet, so not sure what's going to happen there. For the moment, thank you all for watching. Congrats again to Nordren on his win. GG to both runners. And I will see you all at 7 p.m.